everybody. I wanted to share my recent experiences dealing with the state inspection requiring an ODB2 sensor. This is specific for the 97 Saturn SC2, but it kind of applies to General Motors and overall anyone that has a car made after 1997 would have to deal with this depending on how old their car is and if they've had various work done on it. So I wanted to describe my experiences. Basically, I'm trying to get my renewal done in the state. I'm in North Carolina. There's about 26 states that require it, including New York, North Carolina, and California. Check with your local state to find out if you need to do this inspection or not. Whenever I went to the mechanic, they basically told me that it was probably due to either replacing the battery or the mechanic resetting codes. Whenever they work on your car, sometimes they reset the codes, and that will reset these indicators. These are some of the various tests that it goes through, and I've got a tester that I use, and that's kind of what the symbols look like for each one. Misfire, monitor, fuel system, evap, catalyst, O2 sensor, heated catalyst, EGR, and secondary air system. So I'll leave links below, and feel free to leave comments for people that if they've ran into these issues and how they fixed them. There's obviously not one cure-all for everything, so feel free to leave any suggestions below. Also, I'm going to leave links to some of the various forums that talk about each one of these specific tests and how to get them to work out. Whenever I did go to the mechanic and they said, I was failing these tests, they recommended driving 50 miles. Well, that didn't work. So then they said, well, try 100 miles. Say what? Yeah, that didn't really work out too well. Probably could have driven 200 miles and I may not have accomplished what needed to be done. So I went to the best source out there, the internet. I have a Saturn, so as most of you know, Saturn went out of business some time ago. So luckily there's a lot of forums out there that talk about these various drive cycles, and this is one of them right here. You can see it in the screen, and then over here there's an OBD2 guide. I'm going to again leave a lot of links to these sites so you can kind of research more if you'd like to. So if you have a car that's older and just sits around, doesn't get a whole lot of mileage on it, you may want to look into getting a diagnostic tool so you can test it before you go to get it inspected, so ahead of time. That'll save you a lot of time going back and forth to get it, a scheduled appointment. You can get them at most auto parts stores. I'm not going to recommend one or the other because these are generally the same type of device. I recommend one that has a visual display of what the different sensors are to see if it's good or not. And the one I actually have has a light on the end where it connects into the car. You can see here where it attaches to the car interface. Mine actually has a light, which is pretty useful, but not a requirement. They have some that you plug in and use an app on your phone. So I mean, there's all kinds of options out there, usually in the $100 to $200 range. But you can use it for all your cars, and you can also clear the oil light and look at various error codes that come along. So it's a good idea to get it anyways. That's just a close-up picture of what the connection to your car. It's usually under the dash somewhere, either on the driver's side or passenger side. So this is the General Motors ODB2 drive cycle. You gotta do a cold start. Basically, you haven't been running the car. There are some temperature requirements, which you can find in the links below. Typically, it's you want to be in the 50 degrees to around 82 degree Fahrenheit range. Anything outside of that, you may want to look into the specifics to see what the requirements are. You'll need to start the engine, turn on all the loads you can, turn on the AC, the heater, lights, rear defroster, and leave it, idling basically for 2.5 minutes. And then after that, you'll want to accelerate. Now it says accelerate to 55. Obviously, you're not going to do that in your driveway. So I would recommend, having somewhere local that, you can get up to 55 and maintain it for at least 5 minutes at a time. They recommend not turning and not, a lot of stop and go, no traffic lights and stop signs, anything like that. So make sure you have a straightaway like a freeway or an interstate. I recommend doing it in off hours as well. So you're going to turn, everything you turned on before, the AC unit, the lights, the defroster, you want to turn whatever you can off. Obviously, it's nighttime, you got to leave your lights on. But other than that, the air conditioner, the heater, either one, and the defroster you want to turn off. You're going to accelerate up to 55 miles an hour with half throttle. I don't think it has to be an exact, doesn't, just basically don't be flooring it. Then you're going to hold 55 miles an hour for 3 minutes. That part's not too bad. Then you have to decelerate, and this is the real pain part, is that you have to decelerate. You can't use the brake, and if you have a manual, you can't use a clutch, and you have to let it basically coast down to 20 miles an hour. I highly recommend, if you live in an area with mountainous terrain, you find a good mountain or hill and you do it at the bottom of the hill. I found that even a straightaway, once you're at 55, it takes quite a ways to slow down to 20 miles an hour. So then once you're down to 20 miles an hour, you accelerate at 3/4 throttle to 55 and hold it for 5 minutes. And then again, decelerate, no brake or clutch, down to 20 miles an hour. So I just recently replaced my battery, so I had to do this again. And when I did that, I still you can see here the various monitors that my car has, and you can see the red ones are flashing on mine. So 3 of them aren't working. I then drove it another probably 10 miles or so, and when I got home, then they were all green, which is what I need to see for me to pass the state inspection. So here's some links. I'm going to leave them below. One of them is the Saturn fan club. Obviously, if you own a different type vehicle, you can look that up. And then also there's a couple that talk about the different OBD monitors and statuses and how to fix them. I want to thank everybody for watching, and please leave comments below if you found it useful, or if you have questions, suggestions. If you'd like me to cover any other topic, just let me know. I'm looking to do these and see how people like them. So feel free to leave your feedback and subscribe. And I do have a channel out there, and thank you for watching. Have a great day.